Leap of Faith podcast fans. Welcome to this week's podcast with yours truly, Randy Silver. You can see I got a celebrity with me this week. Super excited. It's DC, the brain supreme of tag team Whoomp. There it is. You may recognize him if you love hip hop music in the 90s. If you're more of someone from today, him and his partner are in a Geico commercial where they're doing it with some chocolate syrup. So we're going to talk about him coming up in the rap hip hop duo tag team in the 90s and how he turned himself into entrepreneur, everything into entertainment industry as he got a little bit older, out of the rap scene into commercials, everything else he does. Does not need introduction, so we're just going to jump right into it. DC, welcome to the podcast.
Hey man, good to be here. Leap of faith, huh?
Leap of faith, baby. Because
the
whole point of my podcast for everyone is I want them to understand that they can take whatever leap, whatever their dreams, their reality is, they can make it happen. They can take that leap just like you did into the rap industry and make it happen.
The only thing that can stop you is you.
I agree.
Right?
You know what? Well, I think a great place to start is, what got you into rap? Obviously, you grew up in the Atlanta area, very big.
Actually, I didn't. Actually, I'm from Denver.
Oh, my apologies.
Denver, and me and Steve met each other in high school, and he had a band, and they used to play in the quad area during lunchtime sometimes. And I wanted to be in his band, and I wanted to be in the choir. And I went to my first high school dance, and saw DJ using 2 turntables and a microphone, and I had to have it. And that's what really catapulted everything musically for me. And graduated from high school, and we had the band and everything, but as young men disband, me and Steve kind of stuck together, and we just kept making music, and that's how we became tag team. And
it's a good name.
I think the pivotal point was, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said that's a good name, tag team. It's a very good duo.
Yeah. And it just worked out because that was way back. That's like the beginning of hip hop. So we had our influences, and, we were right there with them. Right. But we were in Denver, then we were in Atlanta, and, just it progressed. I became a great DJ and, learned how to make music, learned how to make songs, learned how to write lyrics, learned how to rap. And, when you're young like that, there's nothing that can stop you. You're just tenacious, right? Because you have such a fever for everything. And people say that, when you're young, you're like that. And it's like, I'm still like that, but it's for different things, right? So I still have the same intensity, the same fervor for everything I'm doing now, like I did when I was young. Like right now I'm doing, I'm coding. I do SEO. I do, Wikipedia, right? And I'm in the guts of Google, right? Just figuring it out. And it is it's the most incredible thing I've pretty much ever seen in my life, right? And I know how to do it. And that is what makes it so great, and it took years to get to that point, right? And I mean, Whoomp, there it is Whoomp, there it is, right?
It's an all-time classic.
It's that
all-time classic.
Yeah, but it's just we just made a record about partying on Friday. That was the easy part. Not necessarily the easy part, but it was the easy part because we just made a song and we made millions of songs, right? But why that one, right? So I can't explain it. I'm just glad it happened, right? It's that simple. But the hustle, and the never giving up, and the continuance of playing offense and keeping control of your emotions and just hustling and never giving up has always been my thing. They call me DC, the brain supreme, for a reason. I think different. I figure things out. I just have to have knowledge to overcome any of the, shall I say, emotional trauma that one gets when you grow up in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I stay positive, man. I don't think about the problems. All I think about is the solutions, because it's easier. Even if the solution is far-fetched, it's still easier because If the solution is far-fetched, well, it might not be that way now, but that's a vision. That's something you can achieve. So you just work your way back step by step to practicality. And then you're kind of halfway there. And that's refreshing. But you can never get to that mind space if you're always negative, or if you're always quitting, or if you're always, thinking like everybody else. You have to figure out how to make everything custom to you. And everything that life throws you, you take it and you don't react to it. You put it in your pocket and you use it for fuel for later, because it will serve you, right? You just keep hustling. I mean, I can't say that enough, because that's what I did. All I did was, if somebody threw me a lemon, I made real good lemonade. And it happened a lot. We signed a messed up record deal. And instead of looking at the glass half empty, I looked at the glass half full. This is an opportunity for you to become a paralegal, because you're going to get your day in court. So I studied every waking hour, every minute of that case, and was able to put together discovery, learn what motions were, learned everything about the legal process that had to do with me, because I took it upon myself to do so. And, life is still good. We're still doing shows. I'm still, doing my thing. But at the same time, I realized that I signed a messed up record contract. So I vowed to myself that you have to correct that.
Can I ask you a question really quick?
Educate yourself. Beg pardon?
Can I ask you a question really quick?
Yeah.
What was messed up about the contract, so my audience knows why you had to go do and become a paralegal?
If it wasn't one thing, it'd be another. But when you first start, right? And this is important, because I try to tell everybody who asks me about the music industry, I try to tell them what the most important thing is. And people always say, DC, put me in the game, put me in the game. And they're like, okay, well, I got a book, or I got this folder, give me your email. And if you don't like to read or can't read, I got a video for you in that folder. And when you finish that, come holler at me, because I don't want to waste my time, and I'm not going to waste your time. And I can tell you 99% of the people don't never call me back, right? But that 1% that did or does, they understand, and they're still confused, right? Like, dude named Cordell, he was an Army veteran. And he was just like, I want to get in the game. And I was like, okay, do this. And then, he was like, I still kind of don't understand what this is. And I was like, okay, since you tried, let me explain it to you. And I explained it to him. He was like, oh, okay, I get it. But then he was like, I still don't understand. Ain't I supposed to go to the clubs, and I'm supposed to do this and do that and get promotion? And all? I was like, dude, no. I said, that's not what I do. That's what I'm telling you. I said, I'm going to break it down to you like this. I am fully confident that you will never be taken advantage of in the music industry, because I gave you the back end first, right? Because the front end is all the girls and the cars and the money and all that. You're blinded by that. But I giving you the back end before you even jump in the game. And the back end is, what do you have after all the accolades fade? What do you have left? What do you have to show for? Do you have your publishing? Do you have your rights? Do you have money? What do you have? And most artists don't have anything. And as a DJ, I watched artists rise and fall like that. And I vowed to never be that person. But when you're young, you want to be a rock star, and you'll sign a messed up record contract because you'll be like, I'll deal with it later. And I dealt with it later. But, the reason our contract was messed up, because we owned it 50-50, but there's this thing called administration. It's like, okay, this person is going to administer all the money, all this, all that. But what happens is, the record company is the administration. Then they could just say you owe money forever and never had to pay you, right? And then the record company went bankrupt. Then another record company bought it out of bankruptcy. And then now those two record companies are fighting, and we're in the middle. I can fight one record company, but I can't fight two. So I bid my time. I learned as much as I could learn about being being a lawyer. I started, I got into finance because I said nobody will ever take advantage of my money again. And I became a licensed commodities broker, right? Passed the Series 3 test. It was excruciating, but I passed it. Worked at a couple of firms while I'm DJing in the clubs, while I'm still doing shows, right? And, I decided I wanted to have a hedge fund, but it was like, I don't know what a hedge fund is. And I just started making calls to hedge fund managers. And, I was like, can I get a meeting? They were like, of course you can get a meeting in DC. So I get meetings all over the country. And I'm in this boardroom in Vegas. And I'm like, why should I let you manage my hedge fund? Because I got Dominique, Dion, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Atlanta. I got all the stars. Everybody knows me because of the clubs that I've been in. So, what do you guys offer? It's like, DC, our returns are like this, and we do this, and we look out for your clients like this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And what they didn't realize is while they were pitching me, they were teaching me. And that's one of my tactics. See, in life, you better have tactics. One of mine is learn how to learn. It's called learn how to learn hustle tactics. It's not good enough to just learn. You have to learn how to learn. So whenever I get stuck, I do that. That was back in the day, right? Now, when I get stuck, I join an organization because organizations are filled with people who've been doing it 30, 10, 20, 40 years, and they love their profession. And they can't wait to guide you and give you the resources that you need to be successful, because that's what an organization, association, or a society is all about, right? So that's what I do now. That's what I did when I wanted to start doing shows in like 2015 again. It's like, okay, put us on your roster. And they're like, well, you only got one song. And it's a long time ago. I was like, dude, really? And I was like, okay, y'all acting funny? Cool. And I just went and joined the organization. I went and joined the International Entertainment Buyers Association. These are the buyers, not the promoters, the buyers. These are the Hard Rock cafes, the casinos, the people who put on the tours, right? Because that's the hierarchy. You got them first, and then you got the next level, which is your big boy promoters. Well, you got your arenas and your, amphitheaters, and you got your big boys, you got your Live Nations and your iHeart Radios, and then you get to your mom and pops who were telling me that I couldn't do it because I only got one song. And then you got your manager and your publicist, and then you got the artist. And what I did is effectively cut out everybody and went straight to the buyer. And I went to their convention. I'm a member. I went to their convention. Me and Chubby Checker, the only black dudes in there. I got a big old Whoomp, there it is, t-shirt on. And I just started networking. And the fact that I was a clean 90s nostalgia rap group, ears started perking up. Next thing you know, we're doing casinos, state fairs, rodeos. One lady wants to do the ice capades, but she wasn't trying to pay no money. But I'm out with the buyers, Hard Rock cafes, any other thing you could think of. Now, instead of doing 5 shows a year where we do the NBA arenas for halftime and stuff like that, we're doing 20 shows a year. And now we're doing 40 shows a year, right? Because I didn't quit, didn't give up, played offense. And I'm not going to let nobody tell me what I can't do, ever. And the key to it all is it cannot be any quid pro quo. It can never be that. It can't be, well, if I do this, this has to happen. Because under those circumstances, you'll always give up, because life don't work that way, right? Like, you don't plant a seed and sit down and look at it and be like, okay, I need this seed to grow seed, grow. Man, this seed don't grow, I quit. And we all know people who've done that in one shape, form or fashion. And life don't work like that. You plant that seed and keep it moving, right? You plant that seed and keep it going, because if you're sitting there worried about that seed, you're wasting time. And I just play offense. I'm trying to, it really started when I started running my life like a corporation, like in the early 2000s. After, I got all the partying and all the, all that stuff out my system. It was like, run your life like a corporation. And I studied how, I just studied business and used my life as the corporation. So what do you got to do? What do you got to get? How do you get your accountants? How do you get your tax guys? Well, what are the liabilities? What kind of corporation you're going to be? What are you going to do? And I started CLG Investments in 2002, and I still have CLG Investments to this day, right? And the whole financial thing, huh?
My apologies. You diversified yourself in many different facets to make sure you had multiple streams of wealth coming in.
Yeah, but that's what them clubs and the streets taught me. Like the clubs and the streets, man, if they see you making money, they're going to either try to rob you or they're going to try to take your hustle, right? They're going to copy you. They're going to try to figure out what you do. So you better have 6 hustles in the hole marinating. And I was very good at that back in the day. Always had irons in the fire. And people used to always say, well, why are you going to learn about that? Well, you ain't making no money doing it. And it's like, it's not about making money at this point. It's just about having backups and contingency plans, because you all, they call it rainy day for a reason, right? It happens. But somebody like DC, I got your hustle. I'm doing what you're doing. I'm like, hey, congratulations. I wish you well, because I've got this new one. Catch me if you can, right? Mm-hmm. And I've lived by that all my life. And I always am doing stuff. So, if I'm at the club and I'm the DJ in the club, I'm not just your DJ. I'm your light guy. I'm your sound guy. I do all your flyers. I do all your graphics arts. I do your voiceover. I do all your radio commercials. I do all your television commercials. I do all your fashion photography. I take pictures of all the women. I do everything, right? And wherever you are, you better make yourself invaluable, because when it comes time to start chopping people, you got to make it to where they can't live without you. So I tell people that all the time, like, I can't stand my job. It's like, it's the wrong approach. If you can't stand your job, you better pin your ears back and you better learn how to do everybody else's job, right? Mm-hmm. If you learn how to do everybody else's job, and you just keep grinding and just learn the whole system, you're learning business. You're running your life like a corporation. So when that day comes where, there's certain things that can happen. That day might come where people start getting laid off. You're going to be okay. Or if you do get laid off, and this is the most important part, all that work you put in to learn everybody else's job makes your transition to the next thing bigger and better and easier, right? It's never easy, but it does get better, right? That's all you can hope for. It's never easy. I wake up every day and it's not easy, but I do it anyway. I'm as lazy as they come, but I do it anyway, right? You can be both. You can be lazy and still keep it moving, right? Because it's about getting things done. It's about being productive. It's about time management. It's about all of those things, right? And now more than ever, it is difficult because I've planted so many seeds in my life that I stand before you in a forest of opportunity. And it's all these branches and fruit and everything hit me in the head, and I got to deal with it. And I've got mentors, I've got coaches, I study. I'll fly anywhere in the world to get knowledge from a person that has done it for 40 years, because I know, it verifies that I'm on the right path. Mm-hmm. And then 2, it's just easier. Sometimes you got to go meet people face to face so they can feel you.
Mm-hmm. Can I interrupt for a second? Ask you a question?
Huh?
Can I ask you a question? You brought up the word mentors. Mentors is something we talk about in this podcast a lot. So I'd love for you to talk about your mentorship growing up, how you were able to get people to help you learn the business. As you said today, you still use mentors 30, 40 years later because you understand they know stuff that you don't know that they'll be able to give you up to speed and help you out with.
I mean, and it's crazy because a lot of us use the word mentor loosely. And I just find the people who know what the hell they're talking about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's that simple. You know what I mean? It's like if I get stuck, I carpet bomb emails. Look, I need to know how to do this. how much it gonna cost me? I know somebody out there got a gambling problem that got knowledge that can teach me something, right? Like, I know that people are going to do stuff for money. And most of the time, if I just ask nicely, they give you the game, right? So I end up infecting these people because they see me take the thing that they know and they see me run right past them. Because I am going to figure out the hierarchy of anything that I get a part of. You know, I mean, everything that I've ever done, I've done that. I figure out how the sausage is made, and then I go get my own sausage machine and I make it better. And it's custom, right? And now like I said, I can't even, the things that I'm doing now, I never, ever thought I would be doing them. And I can tell you that it's just, if life closes a door on you, there are 15 that open. You just have to be willing to look at them, right? Pandemic, right? That's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. The other side is the other side, right? We all know that side of it. But there's another side to the pandemic that forced everybody to stop exactly at the same time. I don't think there's a time in history in my lifetime where everybody had to stop at the same time worldwide. And we were literally all in the same boat. We're literally all in the Serengeti. Are you going to be predator? Or are you going to be prey? Right?
Yep.
And I took that time to reinvent myself because I had to stop. And sometimes when you stop, you know, sometimes you're going so hard that you're driving and you're going and you look out and you're like, I'm not going nowhere. Why? And you look down because your wheels are spinning because you're stuck in mud, right? And when you realize, you know, when you have to stop, you say, okay, what are we going to do? Can't do shows, can't do this, can't do that. But I can do this. And I doubled down on voiceover. And voiceover has been the hardest thing that I've ever had to do because I've been working on voiceover for like 10 years. And I thought it would be easy when I started doing it. I thought I just whoop, there it is, my way through it. But I was wrong. And it was a struggle, but every single time, because I didn't quit, it saved me, right? And this is no different. And every class I take, I record. And I went back 10 years. And I had to listen to my 10-year-ago self, and I realized that I was getting in my own way. That's why I couldn't get good at voiceover. And that's what happens in life, right? And when you realize it and you can admit it, when you can admit that you're wrong, you know, I tell people all the time, I love being wrong because it kills your ego and it kills your pride. And you're dying inside. It's painful. It really is. But if you got your ego and your pride in check as a man, your mind is open to everything.
I agree.
Your mind is open to things that you would have never thought of because you're not using that energy to not be wrong. And I tell her, I just like, just be wrong and get it over with. It hurts, of course. But it's the path to being right, and you'll never be wrong at that again.
I say every time I'm wrong, I learn something new. So I'd rather be wrong so I can get it right.
Man. Hey, and sometimes it takes a little time. Sometimes you might not realize it till about 6 hours later. Whoa, I was dead ass wrong. Okay. How can I fit? I mean, I've called people and say, hey, man, I just want to apologize, but I was wrong with that advice I gave you. I thought I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't calculate that when I was doing it like that. I was doing it 20 years ago. Things probably have changed, right? Just to be able to eat that like that as a man, you're free. And that's why I'm always able to figure things out because I'm thinking about the solution and I'm not bogged down by the problem. I think a problem is an opportunity. A problem is an opportunity for me to figure it out and then put it in my toolbox. So if I'll come across it, I've already hashed it out. An excuse is an opportunity for me to come up with 5 different options that overcome that excuse, that don't even let it enter my brain, right? And trust me, I don't care what type of hit record you got, 28 years later, to try to stay relevant is excruciating.
Tough. So tough.
It is tough because you don't love it like you loved it when you were young, right? I loved it when I was young, but I was already popular because I was a DJ, right? So now it is about efficiency. Get in, get out, come back home, and get back to work, right? You have fun for the 20 minutes you're on stage, but all that traveling, it's not fun anymore. I make, but it is cool because I love to see America, and I make the best of it. But now it's becoming fun because I see something. I see how the show can be better. I see how I can be a better publicist. The pandemic was the reason I became a publicist, because somebody told me I couldn't do something, right? Because I knew we couldn't do no shows after Geico Commercial. When they told us we had a guy, I was like, man, we can't go be able to do no shows. Salt and Pepper did theirs 2014. They didn't stop touring till the pandemic. I said, okay, let me blow up acting and voiceover. So got with a meeting with my agents and said, hey, let's get some publicists in here. We're going to work this. Publicists were in the pandemic. They're like, we don't know what to do. We're in a pandemic. We're working from home. We need to be in a junket or something. I'm like, all right, what did I do? I went and joined the Public Relations Society of America. I'm going to be my own damn publicist. And I'll never forget, it was Super Bowl week. 2 days in, after paying them their little $130, I'm on this Zoom cast with the CEO of this PR firm. And I raised my hand on like, our press release is relevant, because I had a press release, but I didn't pull the trigger on it, right? I was waiting for the right time. And she was like, what's it for? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of featured in a national Geico commercial called Scoop. There it is.
Right here, baby.
I'm looking at the chat, and I blew up the entire Zoom. People were like, well, wait a minute, what's he doing here? Is that really him? Oh my God. I love that. I love that commercial. Oh my God, you bring it back so many. Like, the chat was just off the chain. And the moderator's like, we'd like to welcome DC to the organization. This is really weird, but let's get back to this question. We're going to talk about that Geico commercial afterward. And talk to CEO. So are they relevant? And the CEO lady, man, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget these words. She's like, of course it is. Because the whole last year has been COVID. The whole last year, everybody been fighting and arguing and just at each other's throats. And here you guys come spinning scoops and throwing sprinkles and dripping chocolate, and DC, you'll smile. And of course that press release is going to work. And you're going to go here for all the publicists. You're going to go here for all the TV talk shows. You're going to go here for all of the journalists. You're going to go here for all the podcasts. You're going to make sure your pitches are like this. And she gave me the entire breadth of her experience in 10 minutes. And I have not looked back, and it has opened doors for me I could have never imagined. It is the reason you and I are sitting here talking right now. Mm-hmm. And I do 3 or 4 podcasts a day. And it has changed my life in ways, because I learn more from talking to people. I learn more from vibing with people. And I've always, I never realized how much my words hold weight with people until I started doing podcasts. And I had been doing them, but once I did it like that and joined that organization, it changed everything, because they had all the resources. And this is my go-to, because I can do all these podcasts. And then see, what people don't understand is that one thing, it's not that I just do a podcast to do this. Podcast serves 15 different things, right? But for a podcast for me, it's an entity builder when it comes to SEO. If I have one podcast and you aggregate it to 15 different platforms, that's 15 different links back to tagteambackagain.com. That's SEO tactic. So I'm getting thousands of links just by doing these. I'm getting the things that everybody would pay and cheat and try to just, sell their soul for. I get just because I hustle thought differently and do a podcast every day.
This will be on LinkedIn, TikTok,
Exactly.
Instagram, Facebook,
exactly.
Twitter.
It'll
So
be
you have
everywhere.
5, 6 right there.
Yeah, exactly. And those entities all point back to me, right? So back to the, I hit the ground running. I dropped that podcast on a Wednesday. Thursday morning, the Dan Patrick Show called Super Bowl week. It's like, we want you on Super Bowl Friday. And now I'm on national TV on a Friday morning with Dan Patrick talking about Tom Brady and strip clubs. Right? And a week and a half later, I'm on ABC with Tamron Hall, daytime, nationwide. And she is just so eloquent and so professional and just laid out the most perfect narrative for my entire existence. And I'm forever grateful. And that right there has just snowballed into opportunity after opportunity after opportunity because I hustle. And the next press release was after we did, we were the Grand Marshals of the Talladega 500. Geico comes to us at the last minute and say, hey, we want you to be the Grand Marshals of Talladega 500. It's like on a Tuesday. All you got to do is make a video. Make a video, high quality, high powered, turn in on a Thursday. NASCAR makes the announcement on Thursday night. Friday morning, a NASCAR reporters, just like, my wife's ecstatic because she just found out tag team is going to do the Gentleman Start Your Engines. And I was like, tell your wife I said thank you in a tweet. And then he calls me and he's like, hey, man, I got a podcast tonight. You want to get on? I'm like, cool. This podcast was with 6 NASCAR reporters. Now I am in the game because I'm talking to them like I'm talking to you, and I am changing lives because they're like, whoa, what's all this inspirational, motivational stuff about life? It's like, hey, man, I don't know no other way. And it was one of the most pleasant conversations because we were all the same age. We all understood what we were talking about, and it was about life, right? And they wrote me up all over the place, and then, Geico put that, they sent NASCAR the video. It wasn't even finished. That's the quality, how good it was. And they put it on the Jumbotron, and I'm looking at the Jumbotron, Fox, National, Geico 500, Talladega Road Speedway, Gentlemen Start Your Engines, tag team. Then Twitter blows up. They need to do that every week. And I say, you know what? It's a Sunday. I got to have this press release done by Monday night because I knew I could take advantage of it because I know that a press release is a Trojan horse for me. I did that press release. Then, the first line is going to be all the stuff that happened at the race, but then the rest is going to be what I'm doing and my dreams and hopes and all that thrown in the universe. 3 days after that, I signed one of the biggest voiceover agencies in the world. Like, things are just going back to back to back to back to back to back. Then we get a call, Western Conference Finals. You got to be here tomorrow. They won Friday. You only get a day to rest. Let's go. We go do that. Another press release. And I just know when to drop them, right? And that's all from PR. And I keep doing podcasts. And now it's amazing because NFL's coming. We're about to do Major League Baseball, dude. Right? And nobody gets to do this. Not too many people get to do this. And Geico is giving tag team their own ice cream.
Oh, that's sick. What's the flavor?
I don't even know what it is. It's funny because the story is just banana. Try to make that ice cream.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to throw the whole first verse in there, and it just don't work. Don't work. So we went through several iterations of it, but it is good. It is good. It is good. It is going to be It is only thing that's going to stop it is this Delta variant. But it is going to be good because this is out of Geico's comfort zone. They've never done nothing like this. But that's because I hustle. I let them see me hustle. They see me all on the internet. They see me doing all these things, press releases. Every time they ask me to do something, it comes up. I make myself invaluable.
I agree.
Because I'm not just an artist. I am going to go infiltrate the Martin Agency, who is the agency that makes all of their commercials. And I'm going to infiltrate Geico, and they're going to be my best friends because that's what I do. You have to make yourself invaluable. I am not messing around with everybody. I'm going to the horse's mouth, right? And be like, look, I just want to let you know that you picked the right one. And you see it every day in my hustle. And I know, I mean, it's crazy because right now I've got 4 movies and 4 television shows that are about to drop simultaneously at the same time. I don't know how that happened because when I reinvented myself a voiceover, I started booking, but then I got a call from my coach in LA and she's like, I'm casting for this movie. Can you get to Nebraska? I was like, I got a hazmat suit. And that was my first movie because I've only been acting since 2017. Now I've done little parts in commercials and stuff like that. I've been working, but this is my first movie, right? And it's also a documentary too, because it's about shooting a film called My Corona in the first weeks of the coronavirus.
Interesting.
You see what I'm saying? So you got the movie My Corona, which kind of depicts the first month. And then you got a documentary on how it was to shoot a movie in a pandemic.
Do you have a big
we
part?
Were all safe. Everybody had the mask on. It was actually an interesting experience. And came back to Atlanta a couple months later. I'm shooting my second movie in the middle of Georgia called Mediator. I'm shooting these movies just because I'm trying to get footage for my reel, but then all of a sudden these movies start winning awards at film festivals. And I'm like, whoa, right? And then here comes, a Tyler Perry gig for a television show. Then I get 2 more episodes on another TV show. And then here comes Geico. Oh, this was happening before Geico, right? But because of the hustle, Geico found me. Because 10 years ago, they were trying to find me because they were trying to tell me that Barack Obama was in our video when he wasn't. But they didn't know that because Gawker wrote an article and the whole world went crazy. And we did press for a week. And I was disappointed because at the end of that week, I had nothing to show for it. How is that possible? Right? And that's when my SEO career started. I vowed that will never happen to me again because back then you type in tag team, it was all wrestling. You type in tag team today, it's all tag team, right? Because I learned it. I didn't give up. It was hard. I didn't quit. And at the right time, my agent calls me, hey, DC, you booked a Geico commercial. Man, don't play with my emotions, Smokey. I ain't even auditioned for a Geico commercial. DC, they wanted tag team. You got a Geico commercial. I was like, oh, tag team. And I went and checked my phone. Sure enough, I got a call because I got a tag team line. And DC, we like to put you guys in a commercial and we just want to meet. And I was like, oh my gosh. And what happened is I didn't answer the phone. Then they went to my IMDb portal. Because I have it filled out right and I crossed my T's and dot my I's, they found my agent. And they called my agent for acting and commercials. Talk about synergy. And I could have took it and ran with it, but I would have had to get lawyers and I would have had to, I wasn't going to do that. I said, this is the perfect opportunity to let my agency make this deal. We got together, had big meetings, and it is the biggest deal I have ever inked in my life. And everything, every sweat, blood, every hard thing, every rejection, all of it was worth it because I knew it was going to happen. All I had to do was just keep playing offense, you know, and I just think differently, right? I am not going to fall for it. Got too much sense, right? I got too much riding. There's things I still want to do. When I was a young man, I said, I want to be in history books. Well, it's kind of like how Brady was. This is it. After Whoomp, there it is. I'm like, is this all it is to it? But, you know, you go through them years where you learn to appreciate what you had and you want it again, but in a different form. And I credit my tenacity to my parents because I have been stemming collard greens and shucking peas since I was 5 years old. My parents made me work. They worked me and my brother like a dog. We had chores. We had to clean the cars. We had to wash the clothes. We had to shovel the snow. We had to do everything. And they paid us, but they would punish us in different ways. They'd be like, okay, if you don't wash these cars, you can't go play football on Sunday, because we used to love play football on Sunday, right?
Broncos fan?
Yep, all the way. And we would play, because, you know, Broncos play at 2:00. So we had 5:00 till like it got dark to play. And we watched the Bronco game, depending on whether it was losing or winning, and we'd just be playing out in the front yard. And we grew up doing that. And they knew that we loved it. And or another one is, you know, if you don't go to church, hey, you can't go over your friend's house, or you can't watch TV. See, there were consequences to not working. So I grew up in a house where I always worked, but I didn't care because I knew that work was nothing. And I've never feared work. That's why I hustle so hard, because I don't fear work, because I've always worked. Had a paper route, all that. And when I really became a hustler is when, like, I think I was like 8, 9 years old, we had a blizzard. We were the only family that had a snowblower. Me and my brother did our yard real quick. Because, I mean, a snowblower is just easy. That's just playing in snow, man. You know what I mean? I don't care how much snow you got. And Mr. Grant was struggling next door. We did his. We did the entire block. And that next week when we were coming home from school, people would call us to the house, be like, hey, here's $25. Like, what's this for? We appreciate you doing my snow. What? My parents only give me $5 a week. You give me $25 just to shovel some snow? And that's when the hustler was born. And I've been working all my life, and I do not fear work. And I want it to be hard because I know ain't nobody else going to try to do it. And I'm there by myself. And then when I learn it, I come back and I try to teach it to whoever want to learn it. I'm going to teach it to you. I'm going to give it to you free. I could charge for what I'm saying right now, but I would never do that. Don't make no sense, because my motto is I give what I want first. And I don't even know what I want. I just know I want it. So I'm going to give it all away because I stay blessed, because I do that. And I'm trying to help people. And really all I'm trying to do is just tell people the things I wish somebody had told me when I was a young man. And that goes back to mentorship in a roundabout way, right? And I just love helping people. And I try, and the thing is that it's not for everybody. Everybody's not, you know, there's people, I talk to people all the time. And I'm like, they're always telling me problems. I'm like, well, what's the solution? Huh? What's the solution? I don't know. It's like, because they just want to be miserable. How can you not think about the solution if you got a problem? Right?
I agree.
It's common sense.
People just like to vent, but not like, okay, how are you going to deal with that vent?
How are you going to deal with it? Right? It's like it's. I watch it every day. And that's why I just try to school. It's not even schooling people. I just talk to people, man. Hey, you know, I ask them questions. You know, like with SEO, people were like, well, you got to have keywords. And I was like, nah. I said, this is SEO in a nutshell. I said, if you were looking for you, what would you type into Google? Huh? Once again, if you were looking for you, what would you type into Google? They can't even tell me because they don't even know what their expertise is. They don't even know what problem they could be solving for somebody else. Google is a mirror. It's that simple. And Google is a robot. It don't have no emotions. And everybody thinks about social media, the internet, and all of that. And they're in their emotions. That's why nobody can overcome. Because it's not about your emotions, it's about data. Can I put my data in front of the people who can see my data and know that I can do this for them and solve their problem? Therefore, they call me instead of anybody else, right? It's so simple, but everybody makes it harder than what it really is. And it is hard. Don't get me wrong. And like I said before, it never gets easier, just gets better, right? Just gets better. And that's what you work for. And I tell you right now, I am doing so many things. I'm trying to train 15 different people. Having to learn how to do that has been excruciating, especially when they're all over the world. But it's getting better, right? You start with 15, but then you whittle it down to about 4 who really are hungry. And now you've taught them, and you've taught them how to fish. Like I had one girl, I was interviewing her for a writer. I was like, look, everybody got to do a Zoom with me because you got to film me. She's like, I really don't do Zooms or anything like that because I have to have a paper trail of what I've told people, and I don't want anything to get mixed up in translation and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, look, all right, you just missed out because I was going to put you on game. You are a writer, but I know you don't know how to write for Wikipedia. You're not write Wikipedia pages? No, you don't. And I could teach you in 5 minutes and you can go out there and make some money because everybody needs a Wikipedia page. Everybody needs Wikidata. This is all new stuff. Wikipedia been around forever, but Wikidata is fairly new and Google trusts it more than anybody. I took certification classes for this. I'm always taking a class. I train every Tuesday to make music again. I'm learning DAWs. I go to the horse's mouth. I'm getting lessons from the engineer who made the program, who made the software. And I train with him every Tuesday. And it's not like, and then that's another thing, learn how to learn. People try to teach you like they know how to teach you, but it's like, no. Teach me according to my workflow. Because I don't have time to do it traditionally. So next time, teach me how to do this, because this is what I ran up on this week. I had a voiceover audition and my stuff didn't sound quite right. How can I fix that? And every week there's something that I'm doing that's practical that could be better. Therefore, I'm better and I'm learning the software in synergy. You got to make things custom. Because if you make them custom, once you learn everything, nobody can learn it like that but you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not learning what everybody else learned. You're learning what's according to your workflow. And that increases your workflow. It increases your efficiency. It increases everything. And then things start happening. You become more successful and more successful. And now you want it all. And now your mind is just going, you got so many ideas that you want to get to, but you can't get to them. And now you got to start saying no. Yeah, I can't do that one. I can't do that one. Oh, can't do that TLC tour. I want to, but I can't. Because I can't be stuck. I had an opportunity to get on a new Survivor series for like celebrities, but they wanted me to be gone for 16 days, and there's no way I could be gone for 16 days after I done already booked everything, right? So I couldn't do it. I would have loved to do it. To be on with a bunch of celebrities and we have to get tasks done, and I could just be talking like this to people, or just, you know, I'm a DJ. I sat for 30 years in a DJ booth reading crowds. I know people. And I worked in the strip club, so I know women. I know more than I'm supposed to. Right? I know way more than I'm supposed to. And that has been that is the greatest education I had, because when I worked in the clubs, the clubs financed my education. Because I was doing all these things. I had a club owner. She was like, I was like, what can I do to make this club better? I said, put together a business plan. I was like, cool. I think a business plan is an essay. I know a business plan involved numbers and going to find out what this and bottom lines and all that crap. That's part of running your life like a corporation. But I learned. It took me 6 months. Then I go to this club owner and I bought a screen, got a projector, down doing a PowerPoint presentation in a strip club office, drinking a Tangerine and orange juice. And at the end, she cut me a check for $25,000 and said, get started. And then I got started and got better. And then other clubs knew. And they were like, hey, I'm about to do this new club. You down? Yep. Let me talk to my boss. I was like, hey, I can work a night over there. She's like, no. Because I ain't about to have you go over there and teach them all that I done taught, that you done learned here. And I'm like, and she's like, and here's why. Shh, check, boom. And I'm going to give you this and that, and you can do this, that, and that. You want health insurance? I got that for you too. That's why I was in the club so long, because
I made yourself invaluable. She could not have you leave.
Make yourself invaluable. It's not about the fact that you had to do all that other work and somebody else benefits on. You are the beneficiary of it, because you make your transition to greatness better, easier. Right? You make your transition to greatness easier. You make your transition to another job easier. You make your transition to other ideas easier. You make your transition to a better life easier, because you're acquiring the tools to be better. And people don't get it, man. People, I ain't got to do all that extra work. They got me messed up. It's like, see, you're just going to be sitting there stewing in your own crap. Right? Same thing with this pandemic. Everybody waiting for it to get back the way it used to be. And if you're doing that, you're going to be sitting there waiting for it to get back the way it used to be. While I'm standing in front of this mountain, there's a reason that they say there's gold in them dar hills. I'm standing in front of a mountain full of gold. All I got to do is put in the work to get to it, and extract it, and it's all mine. Because I'm looking forward. I see things nobody else sees. Right. And there's a lot of Americans a lot of people that did that exact thing for the pandemic. That's why there's such a shortage of workers, because everybody's like, oh, I can finance my dreams now with this PPE money. If you did it right. I'm looking at businesses all over the place pop up that I never would have thought of, because it's somebody's idea, somebody's dream that they finally pulled the trigger on. Right. Mm-hmm. It's refreshing.
People realize they don't need a corporate 9-to-5 anymore.
People realize they don't need a 9-to-5, and they ain't never going. I've never really worked that type of job. Even when I was DJing for people, I only worked 2 days a week.
Well, you're doing the 9-to-5 graveyard shift.
Hey, I'm a vampire. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, But then, man, my job, I'm partying, DJing for 150 butt naked women every night. Come on, man. Then I get to go do the clubs. So I'm in Atlanta and I'm seeing the most beautiful women in the world, because they coming from all over the world to come party with me. And they don't even know who I am. That's the beauty too. I get to live my life because how I carry myself. People don't know I did this Geico commercial, and they see it on TV every day. I still go to the gym. Nobody knows who I am. I love it. But if I want to know who I am, I can. I went to Comic-Con. Like, they invited me to Comic-Con last weekend, 2 weeks ago. And I'm sitting in Comic-Con. They made me a banner and everything. It's one of the satellite ones in Houston. And because they didn't do the big one in San Diego. They did like a simulcast or something, and everybody's like,
the one in San Diego happens in a couple of weeks. I actually live in San Diego.
Oh, they pushed it up, right? They pushed it back or pushed it up. Okay. Yeah. But see, we had a show in Ventura, right? And it was supposed to be a drive-in show. We had booked, but then it was like, nope, we got to push it up a month because that's stupid having a drive-in show now. Because that's when everything was coming out of everything. So people had already made their plans to do things. That's good. Ooh. And I went to Comic-Con. I went to Comic-Con Row in like right outside of Houston. And I'm sitting at the table and I'm looking at a hustler's paradise because I'm looking at people with lines down the block, and they played one role in a movie 20 years ago. And I'm watching the hustle like I used to do when I was in the DJ booth. And it was refreshing. And people would walk by me and it's like, who's Dr. Glenn? What was he in? DC Glenn, who is that? And I'm just looking at him smiling, right? And the people that bought me there, Greg GM Kelso, he's standing by me. And he'll let him walk off, and then he'll go, you know what that is? And he'll be like, that's you know that song, Whoomp, there it is? And they're like, really? And then they come over, they're like, you're not Whoomp, there it is. And I'll just go, sprinkles, and they melt. They melt. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know what I have, right? I know what I have, and I can pour it on if I want. But I don't have to do that because I am comfortable in my skin and I love living my life. I don't have to have that. My agents was like, DC, what do you want to do? What kind of roles do you want? It's like, I'm good. You guys do a great job for me. DC, what do you want? I'm like, you guys do some humble. They're like, DC, what's your bucket list? I was like, oh, that's a different question. And all I thought about, I was like, I want to be in The Mandalorian. Live action or animation, anything Star Wars. Let's go. I said, I don't care about being a star. I just want small roles in big movies. And I'm good. I'll do the rest with SEO, with me being me, and me letting everybody see me hustle. There's a different way to do everything. There is no traditional way. I tell people always saying, I mean, there's one of my people, he was just like, DC, you can't do, how do you sleep? You can't do everything. I said, you know what? You're right. I can't do everything. But I sure enough can be prepared for everything. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm looking at them like, I just said the same exact thing in a different way, and the thing that you just disapproved of, now you approve of.
You're like, mind blown.
You see what I'm saying? Because preparation is doing everything. Preparation is everything. People think I just walked in that Geico commercial. I prepared for that Geico commercial a month. I said, I want to go in with 5 to 10 things that I can go to the director with, and he let me do.
How long did you guys film this? How long was the filming actually? 1 day, 2 days? 1 day.
1 day. And we had a ball, and it was energy the whole day. It was a tag team party. And, you know, we had our production meeting. I was like, hey, man, I want to do it. He's like, whatever you want to do, DC. I was like, oh, I'm putting my mind at ease. And I was like, I tried to make a spin and scoop, but I couldn't get one, but that's okay. He's like, no, it'll be done tomorrow. I was like, whoa. We're in the big time now. And I was like, I know kids love sprinkles, so we got to have some sprinkles. Like, DC, we'll have a truckload of sprinkles for you. I was like, cool. And just ran off the things that I wanted to do, and we shot it all. They could have did 5 Geico commercials with all the stuff we did, right? And I'm telling you, that preparation, all the nuances of that commercial were prepared. That's hustle and preparation. That's why that commercial came out the way it did. That's why everybody loves it. That's why it brings joy to the world, right? Because the world needed it at that time. And I realized that I've been blessed in a way that I can touch people and make their lives better.
I mean, look at
just
the
by
smile
singing
behind
that
us right
damn
now
song.
with that chocolate syrup. You got the sprinkles right there. Like that is
Yeah,
the joy. That's $1 million smile one. But that's
yeah,
like you
man.
said, after a year of
That
shit, that's great.
and that picture right there is just a screenshot of the video that we picked, and it was just like we just picked it to pick it. And that right there is going to be the most iconic thing that I've ever done because we're up for every award that has to do with commercials. They're bringing it back. They're going to run it through the rest of the year. They've been playing in the Olympics. We're going to do a big thing in the East Village, right? They're going to wrap 8 ice cream trucks in New York, and they're going to give away ice cream all Labor Day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And Geico is we have a great relationship personally, and my whole thing has always been you can do things differently, right? They wanted us to make a song, and I was like, I was like, huh? I was like, because it'll never be more perfect than it is now. Just like a Whoomp, there it is. People are like, so what are you going to make another record? It's like, never, because Whoomp, there it is a forever hit record. Why would I make another hit record? Why would I try to make another record? Right? But that don't mean I'm not going to make songs. That don't mean I'm not going to make jingles. That don't mean I'm not going to make Christmas songs for the movies that I'm auditioning for in March that are Christmas movies, right? There are so many different ways to make money and get your money up front. It's mind-boggling because if I make a record and go like, look, y'all, I got a new record, people are going to be like, man, DC needs to sit his old ass down. He's doing good. He did good with the Geico. He just needs to sit his ass down. I don't know why he did that. But if I'm quiet about it and just keep putting in this work, Christmas time come around, everybody hears this new Christmas song that everybody likes. And you hear it so much, you're like, what is that? It's like, that's DC from Tag Team. Damn, he's still making money. You see the difference in the response, right? Because you gotta let other people do the work for you. Why am I going to sit there and try to get, because right, really it's all about, look, that's what everybody thinks that's what social media is about. Likes, like me, like me, like me. No, that's for people who need attention. That's what they do. I'm trying to make pension plans. I'm trying to achieve things that nobody's achieved before, right? In a different way that most people won't even know about.
Generational
right?
wealth. You and your family.
Yeah, I'm preparing. I'm preparing for a TED Talk because I'm gonna have a TED Talk. Period. Right? And I'm preparing for several things like that because I do my research. I figure out the hierarchy, how it works, how the sausage is made. Now I know how to infiltrate it because I hustle. There's no smoke and mirrors. It's just a different way of thinking about it. I'm a positive, bizarro Superman in a negative world. Some people didn't get that. But I know that.
I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? I'm a positive, bizarro Superman in a negative world. Right? It's like, okay, you have to think differently. I know I've said that more than anything. And I know every time I finish a podcast, people are always like, never thought of it that way.
You know, every successful entrepreneur that we've had on this podcast who are making $100 million, the two key themes I always say is you got to think outside the box and you got to make whatever problem's out there, your solution got to be the solution. And if you're trying to get people into your solution, then it needs to be the best solution. But if you can think outside the box and people are like, oh shit, I never thought of it that way, I need that, that is when you win. And that's what you've done continuously. You've made people realize how you've been able to diversify yourself from just being a club DJ, a strip club DJ, to now a hit song, to a hit commercial, to a TED Talk, to movies, to voiceovers, because you keep coming up with outside the box
Play
solutions
offense.
to play
Hey,
offense.
man,
To play offense.
if LeBron shoots 20 shots and misses, what's he gonna quit? He's gonna shoot 20 more. If he missed 20 more, he's gonna shoot 60. But then he's gonna make one. And then he's gonna make another one. He's gonna make another one. Then 4 years later, he don't won 4 championships, right? That's how it works, man. You can never give up because you never know how it's gonna come. And then it's beautiful because pandemic taught me. I learned a lot of lessons from this pandemic because you got time to reflect. And the pandemic taught me that there are no mistakes. There are no missed opportunities. Because everybody beats themselves up over things that have happened in the past. And what I realized, I can correct all that crap, right? I'm like, I thought I missed opportunities in voiceover because I'm in the bowels of Disney teaching Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse how to rap, right? We did a Disney record back in the day. And they taught me about animation voiceover, and I fell in love with it. But it took me 50 years before I took my first lesson because sometimes in life, we're just not ready. And that's okay, right? But I started, and I used to beat myself up about that. I'm sitting in the office 1996, 1995, president of New Line Cinema. He's telling me about this. We've got this new movie. It's going to be hot. We're thinking about, putting you in it. And right now the leads are between LL Cool J and Wesley Snipes. And the movie's called Blade. I'm like, yeah. Talk to my manager. Well, I'll audition for it. Just talk to my manager. Because I'm Whoomp, there it is. I'm in the throes of that. You think I didn't beat myself up 10 years later every day about that because I was there, right? But I got 4 movies, 4 television shows, tons of voiceovers. I'm trying to be This Week on NBC. I'm doing all these things that I used to beat myself up over. I'm doing them because I promised myself that I would not leave this earth regretting something I wish I had done. So now I've got 18 tutors for everything that I can think of. And I go in search for knowledge so I can achieve every dream that I've ever wanted to, and sometime other people's dreams, so I can come back and teach them how to do it themselves.
I love that.
You
take the leap of faith on yourself every time, and you're going to achieve it.
Leaps of faith. People like, how did you do that? How do you? This is one of the main questions. How do you do that and not be scared? It's like, well, you be scared because you can do both. You could be scared and you could keep it moving because you're going to have to do it. That's the only way you're going to conquer your fear is to keep it moving and fight through. There's no way around it, no way over it, no way under it. The only way to it is through it. So why are you wasting time? Why? And I just try not to waste time. I try to stay on offense, and I've got my pride in check, and I don't let things infiltrate me that can bring me down. I sacrifice, right? Like I can't even date because if I'm on a date, I'll be fidgeting because I think I could be doing, I know that I could be doing something better than what I'm doing right now. Right? I feel like I'm neglecting my hustle. I feel like I'm cheating on my wife because my hustle is my wife. So I don't even date. I don't date. I don't do none of that because it's a sacrifice, because when I get to where I want to be, all that'll be there. And then I've done everything 40,000 times. And when you get older, the things you used to love, you start to hate them. It's called maturity, right? So the things that, I really don't have patience for are not my universe. And if they come in my universe, I just deal with it and keep it moving. You just have to, like I said, Offense, 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 offense. Keep learning. Keep figuring out a different way. Keep learning how to learn. Perfect example. If I get a long email, by the second line, by the second sentence, I'm daydreaming. And I'm like, dang, what was that email about? I ran off into something else. I got 5 screens going, right? So what I do is I take that big, long email and I dump it into AI, and now the AI is reading to me. And then I catch something, wait a minute. And now I'm reading and the AI is reading. Now we're retaining all this information. Learn how to learn. I can take this podcast, transcribe it, just dump it in the software. It transcribes itself. Then you could cut it up and turn it into 8 different pieces of content, right? You could turn it into lyrics. You could turn it into a YouTube video. You could turn it into a picture. You could turn it into a portrait. My proudest thing that I'm proud of right now is what I'm doing right now, which is Wikidata, Wikipedia, websites, SEO, and learning schema markup, JSON LD coding. Because what rapper is going to do that?
Probably not very
What
many.
artist is going to do that? What actor is going to do that? What voice artist is going to do that? What person is going to do that? Me. Because it's a different way of doing things without having to spend money. Right? Look at how people buy ads. Oh, I never buy ads. I know how to get in front of who I need to get in front of. And that I meant to tell you this when we were talking about it. When you type something into Google, a whole bunch of things come down. They're called suggestions. Those suggestions are what people are looking for. They tell you what they're looking for. And then the questions that they are most asked are in the middle of the page. All you got to do is answer that question, put that FAQ on your site. Now that question is answered, and Google takes your thing and puts it everywhere because it answers that question, because Google is a robot and the robot is a search engine, and that's how Google makes their money. So when you're trying to build your website out, people, go in the middle of the page that you want people to look at you and answer those questions and put them on your website, and Google will match that and put you everywhere that they think that question needs to be. There's questions on tech like, when did how old is DC the Brain Supreme? Well, to answer your question, how old is DC the Brain Supreme? You see how I said the question in the answer? Because I did that, then I scheme it up with JSON LD. Now that question gets answered, and then the link goes back to my site instead of Discogs or, Hollywood Reporter or all these other entities, right? I am most proud of that because that is power that was earned, right? And it's organic. And it can't be faked, can't be manipulated. It's about facts. It's about truth. And I love it, man. I love that I've learned it, right? And it's been hard. And the next phase is, making songs again. And I'm a better artist now, a better creator now than I've ever been in my life, but the technology has to meet up with the creativity. I ain't touched a drum machine in 20 years. But the last 6 months, I've been touching drum machines. Now I'm cold. I'm back where I was. I'm making music again, having fun, right? That's the part of it's the little kid again. I went and got another turntable, went and got a mixer. Mixers now are not your Radio Shack mixers.
No way.
So instead of looking at all these tutorials, I flew to New York, went to a DJ school, and they taught me how to use the mixer in 5 minutes. And we talked for 2 hours about DJing because I need to know where I'm at, where you guys are doing. How does some of these DJs make $250,000 to $500,000 a gig? What is that? Right? It's like my aspirations are changing, but in a way, not the traditional way, but in a way that me being the DJ I've always been serves me now better than it has ever served me. because now it's a part of my creativity and it's not my job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've turned your job into an asset that makes you great in other ways. So, you know, I'm having fun. And last, man, I just want to thank you for just letting me come on here and just run my mouth for an hour. Because,
all good.
I learn more from talking to people than any other form of learning. And it's the God's honest truth that this is therapy for me, right? Because I get to talk things out. You get to try different analogies. You get to see things differently. You get to match your hustle against other people's hustle. You know what I mean? You're a well-respected man in this game. You know what you're talking about, and you're sitting here listening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're not teaching me.
You're not correcting me. You're not, we're talking the same language in a different way, and we're both learning from each other. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what it's about. And this is every day. It's crazy to people. And I take the smallest podcast to the biggest. I take them all because it's an opportunity for me to hash out things. If I have an idea, I can throw it out there. And because I'm talking about it, another idea pops up, and that's the solution to that idea that I had that I can now, can make happen and implement in my hustle. Right. And this is just a form of therapy that helps me just keep moving, keep talking. Because I don't have nobody to talk to about this. I can't talk to nobody about search engine optimization and wiki data. Most of the people I talk to are like, wiki who? It's called wiki data. It's the data all over the world that Google is scrambling to try to put in some coherent form because the internet is too big. And Google's job is to put all that information in the proper place so people can find what they need. So why not Google gives you the recipe to feed the bot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be a short order cook? Or are you going to be a 5-star Michelin chef?
I call it Google University, YouTube University. You can do whatever you want, learn whatever you want based off those two things.
And you have enough sense to know what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And I know that in a new genre or something, there are some people who are going to just only tell what they know, and there's more. Or they haven't told it in a way that everybody can understand, because even with acting was very difficult for me. I would hear the same thing 15 times, but it was somebody who told me the 16th time in a different way, where I was like, I
get it now.
Right? And that happens all the time to me now because I'm always searching for it, right? So you have to always keep an open mind because, people are traumatized because they're being emotional about auditions. And I'm treating the audition just like a robot. I'm like, okay, so you saying I got to do 1,000 auditions to get to where I want to be? Can I get 50 a day, please? Like, let's get to it. Mm-hmm. Because the quicker I get through these auditions, the quicker I get to where I want to be. There is no emotion involved. I love to audition because it's my chance to play and be better than I was yesterday. So all I can do is try to be better than I was yesterday.
And I agree. And it comes down when you audition, the pressure that goes with it. You're trying to go out for a role. I think most people shy away from pressure or shy away from the spotlight. I relish that. I want to audition because I want to prove I'm the best. I let
it be hard. And because right at that point, you're in your own head. I tell you, most of the auditions that I booked are auditions that I thought I did a terrible job on. Or auditions that I had forgot about, right? And everybody has these stories that stick with it and are successful. And I'm gonna stick with this is for life, because I know that at some point, like I listened to Helen Mirren, and she's like, I was acting for 10 years, and it was a struggle, and it was hard, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't. I was like, wow. Right. And it's same with DJing. DJing was hard. I had terrible turntables, terrible mixer. I went to college in California. I did a frat party with the Mega Sci-Fi fraternity, and the speakers blew and lit the turntable. The needle was messed up, and they was about to beat me up. But I talked them out of it, and I got better. And in 6 months, I did every frat party till I graduated from college. Right? Because I don't quit. I play offense. Learn how to learn, man. Figure it out. There's always a solution. You know, and I tell people, I think of the most fantastical, far-fetched, just pie in the sky solution. Man, DC, you can't do that. Yeah, I can. Right? But not right now. So you inch your way back step by step. Oh, okay, I can do that. Instead of 10, maybe I can have 5. Come back. Oh, that's doable. Come back even more. Now you're at practicality, right? And what you've just done is you've created a business plan in reverse, and you've just created a step ladder to your dreams. Y'all don't want it with me, man.
I love that.
I give it to you for 4 hours. I give it to you as long as you want.
I was gonna say, DC, we're at over an hour. I know it's late on your time, East Coast. I want to respect of your time.
I'll fall asleep.
I know. I'm happy to keep going all day because you're dropping knowledge bombs. But I want to say one thing that you said that I think is really important, and is always be learning. And for me, one of the reasons why I started the podcast is I felt like I wasn't learning. So I can bring on you. You teach me so much. I brought an e-commerce expert on, so I know how to start Amazon seller. I know how to get myself. So me hosting a podcast, every guest can come on. I'm learning new skills. I can
just switch your knowledge, man.
Way.
Yeah, man. Great. Just even if it's one little thing, that might be the one little thing that you've been missing in your whole hustle to make it all come true.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Just never know where it's gonna come from. That's why you got to have an open mind, and you cannot let your pride deter you, because that is the biggest thing. Men's pride. I watched it kill my father. Right? It didn't kill my father, but I watched it hamper. I watched it hamper his common sense, and he's a PhD. And it's almost like how we look at some of the people that make some of the decisions that they make today. You look at them like, don't you got common sense? But hey, man, everybody's different. Everybody ain't you. And you got to understand that and realize it. But the pandemic made us realize that there was a way more than I thought there were. Didn't know it was that many. Okay. All right. Well, I figure we sell it. We making. That's why I think podcasts work so well, because people just, I think the number one commodity right now, and this is what I try to give people. If I could bottle it up and sell it, I'd be rich.
And I'll let you go after this. We'll have this be your ending thought here, and I'll let you go.
Yeah. And all people want is peace of mind. We all want the same thing. We all want the best for our family. We want our kids to be straight. We want all that. But what we really want is just peace of mind, man. Can we just calm down and just have peace of mind for a little while, right? Mm-hmm. That's the commodity right now. That and the truth. But if you got common sense, you're gonna be all right. But I appreciate you guys having me on. And before I go, I got one last word.
You got to hustle, baby.
You know it. And sprinkles.
DC, if people want to find you, how can they look you up? And everything that he puts here will be in the bio of however you're listening or watching.
Don't even matter. Type in tag team DC. I do SEO. So I let it be known that I can be found. You can find me.
Awesome. Yeah, I will just type in tag team Google, you'll find it. This is the Leap of Faith podcast. However you're watching, listening, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all the good. Thank you so much. Please go give him a follow. I'll have his IG, everything tagged on the bios. Please follow us. DC, sprinkles. But over here on the Leap of Faith podcast, we have a different sign off, so repeat after me. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy, y'all.
Stay wealthy, y'all.
Stay wealthy.
And have a good week, fans.
And have a good week, man.
Deuces. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, DC.